Hello, all you beautiful people out there! And if you stayed for the Retro Jacksepticeye intro, then this reading is gonna be for you, baby. I'm just getting over a sinus infection, so please do forgive the way that I might speak or sound within this video, but that's not gonna stop us from doing our readings today. Today's reading is about a gut feeling that you've had. I want to say that this is going to be recent, but this is going to be a very strong gut feeling that just, bam, it hits you and you can't ignore it. Maybe it's a little confusing, like, why the hell am I feeling like this? Why am I feeling so strongly about this? We're going to get down to the nitty-gritty about it today. We're going to figure out what the hell is going on. So if you look in front of me here, I have 3 different options for you to choose from. These crystal cards kind of have like a little like a little message inscribed here that if you would like to go ahead and read that before choosing, but otherwise just look at whichever crystal card looks best to you, and that's going to be the reading for you. In the description below, I will have a little timestamp for you to skip right to the reading that's best fit for you. If you're feeling like you're vibing with more than one, there might be more than one message here for you, or if you're feeling like none of them are really hitting you, suiting your fancy right now, then maybe this is not your time. You know, come back in a month or so. Maybe the reading will start to feel a little bit more like it fits you then. Not everything's going to fit perfectly to the moment. Sometimes we see things for later on down the road, you know, kind of like a little foreshadowing thing. But if you are here and you're here to stay and one of these really are screaming to you for you to choose, then please choose whichever one feels right to you. And we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty. What is this gut feeling that you have? What is it about? And how can we move forward in knowing this? Hello, Group 1, my adventuring pile. This message is going to be for you. To reiterate, to rephrase the question that we had originally, it is, what is this gut feeling? You might not even know that you've been getting a gut feeling recently, is kind of what I'm hearing with this. It's a little bit confusing. There's just a feeling that's swimming deep inside you. There's an answer that you've been giving, there's a nudge that you've been nudged, and you're trying to figure out what the hell it means or what the hell it's for. So that's what we're kind of getting into today. And we're going to start off with, I usually do a little bit of a crystal ball scry before I get into the real message. And what I saw in my crystal ball scry today was Gur from Invader Zim, and I heard the whole, I made room for the cupcakes. So maybe that means something for you, or maybe there's a message in there for you, or maybe it's just a symbol or synchronicity to let you know that you have landed on the correct video. But let's get right into it, starting with this crystal card that you chose, Adventuring. Meditation, introspection, restlessness clouds your perception of your options. Adventuring gives you inner and outer peace. This stone shows you the right time to act. Which is funny, because if we pair that with your Starseed Oracle card, it says Called. Souls, gifts, and training, it's time to step up. And when I was reading in the Starseed Oracle little guidebook, it was telling me how Called talks about how it is, simply, like it says, it's your time to act, it's your time to go forward, it's your time to start something, to initiate something, it's time. Mariah Carey coming out during Christmas, it's time! That's the vibe that we're getting in with you right now. So let's get into some tarot cards to kind of understand this further. I want to understand more of, what does this gut feeling feel like? Any advice for moving forward with the whole it's time theme? And just what would future you feel like after listening to this gut feeling? I am using the Lightseer Tarot today for anybody that's interested. So let's get into it. What does this gut feeling feel like? Okay, interesting. Let's move these up a little bit to see if I can get all these in frame. Okay, so it feels like the Page of Cups. Any advice for this gut feeling? Couple of pieces here. Hermit, Queen of Cups, and the Page of Wands. And then finally, what is future you feeling like by listening to this gut feeling? All right. Cute. Interesting. Interesting. I am going to take this card with it too, because I feel like there's an answer here with that. In the bottom of the deck, we have the Five of Swords. Okay, so this gut feeling feels a lot like daydreaming, I'm hearing. It feels expansive. So I feel like there's there are two, at least personally, I've experienced that there are two ways that my gut kind of tells me about something. It's either don't do this or do this. If it's do this, it feels a lot more expansive. It feels like almost you're opening up internally. But if it's telling you don't do this, which I feel like is a little easier to hear than the do this option, it feels like you're kind of compressing. It feels like it's stopping you. With this, I'm getting the sense that like there's this feeling you've been having of expansion inside, almost like when you consider this idea or this option, or like you're in this little daydream moment I'm kind of feeling here, where you're thinking about pursuing this. You're feeling like you're opening up, almost like I get this image of like a flower that's blossoming, right? That's kind of being said as, you know, if you feel this expansion, if you feel this blossoming, this is a yes, go for it. This is a take a chance on this kind of option. So now that we've been seeing that this gut feeling, this opening with this thing that you're supposed to take a chance on, it's time to take a chance on it, which with the fact that we're hearing that it's time, makes me think that this is something that you've been working on for a while, and maybe now it's time to showcase said thing, or maybe it's time to take a leap of faith and see this through, is kind of what I'm hearing. And if you see here, this person, this woman, is walking through this portal, so it's almost like once she takes the chance on letting this happen, letting this unfold, letting this be seen, however this fits for you, she's kind of walking into, I'm hearing a new phase of life. Almost like a whole new chapter, almost like that idea of, what do they say? Of like hopping timelines, for lack of a better term, you know, going into your desired reality. I feel like this is going to open a whole new door for you, is kind of what I'm seeing here. You know what I mean? So what's the advice with this? How do we listen to this gut feeling? Well, first off, sit with it, obviously. You know, I feel like the more you just kind of, there might be some fear here that's coming through, you know what I mean? There might be, maybe it's fear of being perceived, maybe it's fear of, oh, what if this doesn't work? You need to sit with these feelings and really listen to them. There's this concept of you becoming, when we see the Queen of Cups energy, she is this patient, this focused, this stable kind of energy. She is set within herself. She's not too swayed one way or another. If there is anxiety that bubbles up, she feels through it, she understands it, but she doesn't let that overtake her. It's this idea of learning how to wade through the waves rather than be overtaken by them. So what I'm kind of seeing for advice here in these first two parts is that there's a part of you that wants to hold back from letting this be seen. There's a part of you that wants to hold back from being exposed in this way, is kind of what I'm hearing. And you need to sit with that to understand our shadow. Well, we'll get into this. So your fear, your anxiety that comes through is a piece of you. It's what we call your shadow side being the dark parts that we try to hide from other people, you know, the anxiousness that comes through, the fear that comes through. These are messages. I am a true believer that every emotion has a message for you. And it's easier for us to smoke it away, drink it away, ignore it, right? Push it down. Or maybe even listen to it at times and then never really step into something because we were afraid of doing it. So we just shy away from it, right? In this moment, you are being asked to really listen to these feelings as they pop up. Because these feelings come from a different part of you. By that, I mean like a past version of you, a childhood you, a teenage you. There have been times in your life that you've probably been told that you weren't good enough at something, or that this project that you were doing was not good enough to be shared, or maybe that you should be a little bit quieter, or whatever you were told. This part of you is what's trying to stop you. It's trying to protect you, if that makes sense. When your fear comes up, it's not to hinder your progress as much as it's trying to protect you from being hurt. And that's where you need to kind of listen to this fear and see where it's coming from so you can work through that, if this is making sense. So anyway, there's a call here to work through your emotions and not let that kind of plummet you back under. Because I feel like you're going to find a lot of strength and self-assurance through working through these feelings. The other piece of advice here is don't take it too seriously, because I feel like in the past, maybe you didn't want to put something out, or you didn't want to showcase this project, or you held yourself back from even pursuing this kind of whatever's going on here because you were afraid of how you were going to be perceived. Back to the idea of like, I'm not good enough, or I'm just an amateur. Everybody has to start somewhere, first off, right? We're seeing some pages here, and I feel like with the 2 pages, there might be a specific partnership, platonic or romantic, maybe even material like career-wise that comes through that might help propel you forward. They're both kind of facing forward, so I feel like they might say something that nudges you forward, or they might just be the support that you need at this time. But you're being told that this idea in the past where you took yourself too seriously was almost a little daunting, if that makes sense. There's almost this like heavy energy instilled with it where it's like, well, if I can't do it perfect, why would I even put it out at all? Not to say that it was exactly that, but something similar where it was like, you know, if I don't have the right camera equipment, why would I start recording this video? You know what I mean? Like, nobody's gonna watch it from this shitty 420p or something like that. Forgive me, I don't really know camera stats. That's just kind of what came to mind. But you're being told to just have fun with it. The less serious that you take this, and the more that you do it just for the passion project of it all, the more that it's going to flow, and the more that you're going to see progression and just a really good outcome from it. So that's kind of what I'm getting for the advice here. So let's get into future you if you listen to this advice. What I'm seeing here is if you listen to this advice, you're going to have a lot more options than you even know what to do with it. If you see here, he's kind of like looking around, trying to figure out which one he would rather point to, which one he would rather be into. And if you see here, she's kind of exhausting her options up until the right one comes to play. So there is this little idea of like maybe becoming a little bit more detached with your energy, that maybe just try things out for the sake of trying it, but don't forget to be be discerning with your choices, if that makes sense. So like I feel like these pair very nicely together where like he's trying to figure out which one he wants here and he's not really making a choice, and then she's kind of stacked up which ones that she's decided no. And I'm getting the sense that like you're going to be at this like giving up point. Like nothing is going to, like maybe I should go back and settle, but I think in this energy you are strong enough to realize that you shouldn't go back and settle, but you're almost giving up because it feels like there is nothing that fits the bill of what you want, right? There's nothing that fits this perfect choice that you need to make here. I'm getting the idea that like this has something to do with this project you're taking a chance on. So maybe this is like, an example would be getting picked up by like maybe you have a podcast and you're getting picked up by a parent company, or you're trying to get published and you're trying to find the right publisher or the right agent to get you published. Same goes if you're trying to like act and you're trying to find the right agent for that. But you know what you want, and you have so many choices and options out there because there are people that are literally asking you to choose them almost. Or at least like you're getting responses now. And you keep going through and none of these feel right. But then when you're about to give up and you're like, you know what, I would rather give up this dream than settle for something that doesn't align with me, is when the right option comes in and is given to you on like a silver platter here. I'm hoping that makes sense. So with this cloud here, I feel like it's going to be confusing for a little bit. But I do feel like as long as you keep up with your work that you've been doing on yourself, your affirmations, whatever it is, you're going to feel strong enough to refuse options that are almost what you want but don't feel right. Remembering that if it's not meant for you, you'll feel that kind of concaving internal energy, but if it feels right for you, you'll feel more expansive. And then kind of to finish it off with this bottom of the deck energy here, we have the 5 of Swords. So I do feel like you're going to have some people maybe in your ear at times, like telling you like, hey, maybe you should take this option. This is a really good option considering where you're at. Or you see he's kind of got like this bird talking in his ear. So there might be quite a few people that are trying to give you their little 1-2 of like, hey, maybe you should do this. So maybe you should try that. Keep listening to your internal self. I'm getting this sense of like headaches might be a warning if somebody around you does not have the best intentions for you. And I'm not saying that they're consciously choosing to not have the right intentions for you, but like if you get some advice that you're thinking of taking and it doesn't end up being the advice that you need, you might end up getting like some sort of head pain or something, or might feel a little bit dizzy in that moment. Pay attention to that. I'm getting this like vibe of like a couple of different people here that might try to give you advice that just doesn't match up with what you want. 1 through 5 people. And then, like, I do see at the end, though, you know, you're going through all of this, you've been through the pain, you're dragging yourself through the dirt, you do end up coming out on top. Out in the back here, you can kind of see this person is like, I almost see it as this is them now, and then at the end of the journey, they're all excited because they're like, yes, I did it! You see this little light from the heavens pouring down, and look at what's behind here that wants to peek out, even. Oh my goodness! 2 of Cups as well. I saw the sun, though, and I was like, yes. So everything is going to work out. I feel like this is going to work out nice for you. And if you are looking for crystal, I would say aventurine could be very helpful for you right now. Aventurine is also very helpful both with matters of the heart chakra, but mostly I like to see it as like an abundance card, or a card for an abundance crystal or a crystal for success. So if that's something that you're looking for right now, wouldn't be bad to keep on hand. Otherwise, any other crystals or symbols or anything that is similar. Because remembering that we don't have to spend our money on this stuff, right? Like, energy is energy. Energy's everywhere. If you want to even just like take a little sheet and write down like a rune or whatever for what you're looking for that's got the same energy as aventurine, put that in your pocket, done. I am always going to be one to say we don't have to sell or buy more. Screw that corporate America shit. Anyway, so sorry, not to get on my high horse at the end here. But I do hope this message helped and kind of gave you some direction here. Yes, listen, it is your time to go forward. Just be discerning from here on out. Because what you have here is a beautiful thing to share with the world. And if somebody can come out with a fucking story about a roach in their apartment turning into some hot guy. I don't know if you guys have seen that kind of stuff on TikTok. There'll be these crazy ass stories. Like, somebody wrote a story about a door that gets personified and it's a romance between the girl and... Anyway, if those kind of stories can exist in our world, what you have created has weight and purpose in this world and can also exist and thrive and do... And just believe in yourself, babe. Anyway, I hope this message helped. If you are interested in booking a personal reading with me, please check out the link below. I would love to work with you. And if nothing else, have a beautiful day, love and light, and thank you for staying. Alright, if you chose group 2 or the rock crystal card, then this reading is going to be for you to just repeat the message that we're trying to find today is, what is this gut feeling? What does it mean? What is it trying to tell us? And how can we listen to this gut feeling? How will we feel after listening to this gut feeling? And I'm kind of going to get an idea of what this gut feeling feels like for you, because I know that personally I still struggle at times with figuring out what my gut is trying to tell me and what's my gut versus my fear. You know, they say anxiety screams, intuition whispers, and I'm not really great with voice volumes, I guess. But to start out, I did do a little bit of scrying with my crystal ball, as I do, to kind of get some signs, symbols, synchronicities here, and I got the rose from Beauty and the Beast. Now, to briefly cover that story, I remember the rose was kind of a symbol of time passing and how much time the beast had left. If you'll recall, if you do know the story, assuming that you do, the petals of the rose would fall. And when the last, like, over time, and as the last petal fell, was supposed to be, like, the solidifying of the curse that the beast and his people of the castle were under. You know, everybody was, like, a furniture item. He was the beast. And as the last one would fall, that would mean that he was solidified as a beast and everybody else was solidified as furniture. But, you know, if that means something to you, we'll hold on to that. Otherwise, we'll see if that comes up in the reading later. But getting right into the reading itself, we're going to start off with this rock crystal card here. It says, rock crystal, clarity, purity, energy. It's time to go your own way. Rock crystal centers you and guides you to find your aim in life. And then we also have a Starseed Oracle card here to talk more about this gut feeling. And it sounds like the gut feeling is telling you about Star Brothers, Horus energy, protection, loyalty, safety, trust. So it sounds like you are being guided to be more open and trusting with the people around you. It feels like there's this ushering in of like people that are meant to help you on your path, or people that are just like-minded spirits and souls that are just there to give you that extra sense of family and friendship. But I feel like your vibe is a little more aloof, a little more closed off. Maybe that's out of fear, maybe that's out of like personal protection, but you are being asked to open yourself to letting more people in or letting new people in, which I feel like might be scary for y'all. I think that you guys are very like set in routine and set in the way that you do certain things. Now, this could be you already have friends and this is a romantic connection that you're being asked to usher in, or this could be that you are just kind of to yourself and you're being asked to open yourself up to more social connections in general. But anyway, let's get right into the cards here. We're going to figure out what this gut feeling feels like, any advice to follow it, and what future you is going to feel like once you listen to this gut feeling. So let's move these over here for a second. Let's see. This is what the gut feeling kind of feels like. We're going to try to put these cards in frame as much as I can. Any advice for listening to set gut feeling? All right. And finally, what is future you going to feel like after listening to? Okay. And bottom of the deck energy here. So, Two of Cups being the bottom of the deck energy, I don't think is I don't believe in coincidence. So bottom of the deck energy being the Two of Cups, I don't think is coincidence. This is the soulmate card. Now, it doesn't always mean romantic. I think for a lot of you, this is going to be more of a romantic vibe here. But the Two of Cups is just this mirroring, like I said, could be platonic, but it's just this mirroring energy of filling up each other's cups, of listening, of understanding each other. When we think mirroring, I mean, it's really all in the name, right? And I feel like with the sun in the background here, it's this sense of like getting over the hurdle. It's like this relieving deep breath after holding your breath for a while is kind of this vibe that I'm getting here. So let's start with what this feeling feels like. I'm getting that. So the first thing I'm hearing is restoration. I feel like you've been in this process of letting things go, or watching things leave that don't serve you or no longer align with you, and it's been putting you in this grief. So it feels like you've been giving up, or for lack of a better way to describe it, it feels like you've been losing pieces of yourself or losing parts of your life. So this person, I think, in tandem with this gut feeling, I think this person gives you a sense of restoration. Like with this vibe here that I get with the Strength card, it's this softness that is almost mixed with this confidence, if that makes sense. Like, you feel comfortable being soft with this person, but there's also this sense of strength that comes through where it's like, I feel strong enough to let myself be soft, which is kind of contradicting, which is interesting. There's a lot of like contradicting energy here to go along with like this mirroring energy. But yeah, I get this like contradicting energy of like, I feel strong enough or set enough within myself to feel soft. Also 555 on the clock, so I feel like there's some change that's been going on here. But yeah, it feels like a restoration after this period of loss, for lack of a better term. After it's like being hydrated after walking through the desert feeling parched, you know, chapped lips finally getting chapstick on them. Anyway, so getting into this advice portion, let yourself be seen is the first thing that I'm hearing here. You know, with the Six of Wands energy, she's kind of like on this stage letting people cheer for her. I feel like with this aloof energy that we were talking about before, you're used to kind of doing things by yourself. Like maybe you go out in public and then scurry right back home. You are being asked to stop keeping your guard so high up. You've been doing a lot of this internal work I see here, and it's time to just kind of like let the internal work you've been doing, let it go. It's that let it out into the world and watch it come back to you kind of energy here. I think the advice with the Nine of Pentacles here is to truly just keep doing you and keep working as you've been working. I feel like this, her giving this pentacle to this bird here it gives me this, like I'm getting this image of the bird taking the pentacle over to somebody specific. Like it's almost like sending mail, if that makes sense, like sending a letter out in the mail or a package. This could be just this exchanging of energy with another person here, this sending messages to another person. Like I said, it goes back to this letting yourself be seen. Maybe this is something that you're doing online. Maybe this is posting more. Maybe this is putting yourself out there in different things out in the public. Like you could be joining classes or learning lessons. Like, you know, different things like that. It's putting yourself out there is the advice I'm hearing here. I'm going to take that spray as confirmation. I'm also hearing, like, let yourself be seen in your outfit choices. Maybe there's a stylistic choice, whether that be with your hair, your makeup, your outfits, whatever it be, that you've been kind of either, for lack of a better term, like neglecting for a while. Maybe it's just because you've been in this rut of doing the same thing or wearing the same thing just because it's easy. You're being asked to really express yourself. And if it's not within your self-image, it's within the way that you interact with other people. I feel like you've been doing a lot of over-analyzing. This might be a little socially awkward group or socially anxious group that doesn't really know how to express themselves all the time, or they're very, very guarded when it comes to expressing yourself. Maybe fear of judgment or what have you, fear of other people not liking you, but you're being asked to express yourself authentically, because this is the only way that you can bring in the right people who want to vibe with you. You know, if you try to express yourself in a way that makes another person happy or makes another person like you, then that's just going to be an extension of what they want to see from you. And then you're going to bring in people who like this version of you that you've curated, you know? If you want to bring in the people that are meant for you, that are meant for your vibe, you have to just be authentically you and let the other people that don't like that weed themselves out. You know, that's kind of like a people pleaser energy that I think that a lot of us have been learning as of late, or a lot of us need to kind of remember within our lifetime that we need to have discernment for what kind of people we want to bring into our life, just as much as, you know, they get to discern for us, if that makes sense. You know, so living authentically as you is a huge advice piece here, and letting other people see you for you. And then future energy, if you listen, luck be a lady kind of came to mind here. I see this horseshoe here, so I'm seeing a lot of luck coming through. Just like it's almost like that pulling up to the stoplight, and just as you pull up, it turns green. You know what I mean? Like it's things just end up clicking for you or working for you in such a way. And she's got like this peaceful energy about her. You see her eyes are closed. She's almost like just in a lull state. I'm kind of seeing Christmas time with these lights here the way that it is, so maybe this has something to do with around Christmas time, this energy kind of starts to fall through, or you might meet a specific person, or the domino effect starts to happen where you start meeting specific people or specific things start happening. Yeah, I think there's just some sort of domino effect around, depending on when you're watching this, of course, but I do think that for the majority of you, it's going to be around Christmas time. Yeah, I get this. I'm also kind of like hearing elf. Maybe it's something to do with the way her hair is, and like her ears look a little pointed to me on this one side. So that could also be an extra confirmation for Christmas, but I think it's also to this testament of your energy where you feel almost more magical, if that makes sense. Like things start to click for you in this luck way, but it's also like you feel like you have more control over the little luck thing. Like if suddenly you think, oh, I wish this certain thing that I want, like this certain product was on sale. And then like you decide not to buy that product that day, you wait 2 days later and suddenly the product is on sale. Like that kind of manifestation energy that comes through there. And also a lot of passion here. Like, I don't think it's going to be that heavy, like, oh, I need to get this idea down now. Like, I need to start writing this. But it's more of like, rather than like this full motivation drive, it's passion of like, once you do start doing it, you fall into this zone and like you find yourself creating, like you might not have this drive right away to start working on things, but once you do start working on things, you just find that it flows so easily, like this, like things just work, just pour out for you for ideas and stuff. And also, like I said, this passionate energy could also be, for those of you that this is a romantic connection that it feels like you're kind of pulling in, there's a lot of passion, and I'll just leave it at that. But be careful. There's a little bit coming through that for those of you, I think, over the board, all of these, whether it's a platonic or romantic connection that you are pulling in, there's going to be passion here. And you're being asked to slow and steady fuel the fire rather than pour a bunch of gasoline on it. When we get these like connections that feel almost cosmic right away, we a lot of times want to just be hard and heavy, hot and heavy, like totally into the connection. Like I said, platonic or romantic. You want to go all in, you want to talk every day, this person like clicks in a certain way. You are being asked to give it time, give the fire space to breathe, because if you pour gasoline on it right away, it's going to go out just as quickly as it like started, right? So just take your time. You know, you will understand your boundaries and the other person will probably voice their boundaries as you're going through this connection. Don't be afraid to voice your boundaries. If you're feeling tired or you're feeling like you just need a break, communicate that with this new connection that's coming in. You know, don't stifle how you feel to make them comfortable, because I don't think they're going to do that for you. And but yeah, you know, just take your time. Get to know this person over time. I know, like I said, it's going to feel hot and heavy right away. You're going to want to know everything about this person. Give yourself that little bit of magic. You know, if you don't talk for 3 days, it's fine. You'll talk the next day. I don't think this person is going anywhere anytime soon. So, like, don't worry about it. But yeah. Also, with this pink energy here, I do think that there is a lot of unconditional love coming through. Like I said, platonic or romantic, this connection has love to give. And I think you're going to feel very fulfilled when it comes through. Like, this is something that you've been waiting for and something you've asked for. So congratulations! I see it coming very soon. Anyway, I hope this message helped. If you are interested in booking a personal reading with me, please check out the link in my description. Otherwise, yeah, keep going. You've got this. Have a great rest of your day, and love and light. Thank you for staying. Hi, hello, and welcome for those of you that chose pile 3 or the heliotrope crystal. This reading is going to be for you. To reiterate what I was talking about at the beginning of the video, the question that we are answering here is, what is this gut feeling? What does it feel like? Why am I receiving this feeling? What is it trying to tell me? Any advice to move forward with what the gut feeling is trying to tell me, and how am I going to be feeling? How is my life going to be looking after I listen to this gut feeling? So to start off, I always try to do a little bit of a crystal ball scribe before I really get into the video, and for you guys, I got the image of a bear, and it made me think back to the movie Brother Bear. Now, I have not seen this movie since probably it came out, but I did a little Google search, and it kind of told me, Google was kind of like giving me the lowdown that the movie is about seeing through another person's perspective, stepping into another person's shoes, you know, walk a mile in their shoes, empathy, basically. So that might be just a little message for you on the side, or that might be a sign or a synchronicity to let you know that you are in the right place, baby. Anyway, getting right to it, let's read this little heliotrope card. It says, differentiation, protection. You need protection. Heliotrope fends off spiritual and emotional assault. It helps you to set clear boundaries if needed. Now, let's look into your Starseed Oracle card to get an idea of what this gut feeling is trying to tell us here. It says, forge, don't follow, pave a new path, be the leader you wish you had. And within reading and learning more about this card, it's kind of all in the image here too. As you can see, there's like this destination that it looks like she wants to get to, but there's no path forward. She's kind of around in the cosmos. It's like you're out in space and you could literally be floating directionlessly. Just kind of bebopping around, not able to like, how do you steadily go forward if there's no path ahead, if there's nowhere to walk onto to get there? No bridge, nothing. So there's this idea that this is something that has never been done before, right? This thing that you want to do, or this project that you want to pursue, this lifestyle, this career, whatever it might be. This is something that you don't have a set game plan for. And I feel like you're the kind of person that, I don't know, it's easier for you, less anxiety if you have a bit of a game plan, if you have like a to-do list to follow. But this is something completely new just for you. You know what I mean? You wouldn't be forging your own path if somebody gave you a list of what to do. So this is for you to discover how to get to your destination or your goal, or how to make this come to fruition, because you are essentially the first doing it. I put the air quotes here because I don't think that there's really such thing as, I don't want to say true creativity, because I do think creativity is very fluid, but I don't think there's a true newness to anything anymore. You know, there's that idea that everything that has been or could be created has already been created, if that makes sense. You know, we put our own little personal spins on things, but like every story has already been told, for example. I'm sure you've heard that saying before. So there's this sense of, it feels like you're kind of floating around aimlessly when you know where you want to get to, but there's no anchored set way to get to your path. So you have to figure out how to get there, quote unquote, without any help. Because like I said, I feel like this is under the guise that everything that could be has already been created. So maybe this is just taking and pulling from other people that you've looked towards or looked up to, or finding people to kind of get inspiration from on how to move forward to this desired destination. So anyway, let's get straight into the cards here to get further understanding of like this gut feeling that we're working with. All right, I do have my Light Seer Tarot with us today. So let's start with, what does this gut feeling feel like? What does this gut feeling feel like? Okay. Ooh, very like passionate and maybe a little bit of an impulsive energy here. Definitely like a fun, energetic vibe. And advice. Okay. A little more grounded. I'm sorry, I'm already sensing a vibe here. And then, what is future you going to kind of feel like listening to this advice and going through with this? Oh, too many cards. Hold up. I think that already I'm getting that there are a lot of possible outcomes. So let's go with the most, let's go with the desired or the most likely outcome. How about that? I think the desired outcome is the most likely outcome. So we're going to put that there. And then bottom of the deck, we have Knight of Wands. So you might just be a fire sign as is, Aries, Leo, Sag. That could be like a big placement in your natal chart. Or you could just be a very fiery energy yourself. Like, I'm talking enthusiasm, life of the party. There's a lot of that energy coming in here. I don't know if that's something you're stepping into or that's just you to who you are, but let's break down the reading. So this gut feeling kind of feels like celebration. But in the sense of like, you know, you're on stage and everybody's clapping, ready for the encore kind of thing. This gut feeling kind of feels like, it feels like things flowing really easily. Like there's a sense of luck here whenever I see this Ace of Wands card specifically. Like it feels like you are the luckiest person alive. Like, it feels like things just work out for you. It feels like you were getting recognized. So, maybe not even in, like, the physical sense of, like, you're actually getting recognition, but it feels like it, if that makes sense. Like, that extra validation that you get from a crowd cheering you on. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting right now. This clear-headed, focused, just, like, personally validated vibe. This excitement, this passion, this is all part of this like gut feeling that's telling you that like this is the thing. I think when you interact with this thing, whether this be a person, a project, a certain situation, that you're getting this gut feeling to like forge but don't follow, you get this sense of like, I'm the one, you know, like this is meant for me. This is my Picasso painting, for lack of a better term. But yeah, like I said, it's this sense of like things work out for you. So there's this like luck here, there's this flow to it, there's this passion, but there's such a personal validation that it almost feels just as good as like getting that applause from on a stage, you know? I'm also getting like this like Christmas vibe here with this wreath. So I'm wondering if Christmas is important to Maybe this is something you haven't quite felt yet, but you've been called to this reading, so like it's going to make more sense towards like December time or something like that. Or this is something that starts to kind of move forward in December. Take that as it resonates. Getting, like I said, Sagittarius. So maybe this is like Sagittarius season vibes, or I know the end of December is like Capricorn. Take that as you will. So the advice here is to create some stability, right? Not in the sense of like, I mean, obviously it's a good idea to have some sort of checklist, right? To have some sort of schedule, but that's for you to create. I think we went back in the beginning, we were talking about how maybe you are kind of, actually, I don't remember if it was this take or if it was a different take, so forgive me. So if I'm repeating myself, I'm sorry. But I remember thinking when I was seeing this image that maybe you would do better to have some sort of set plan, right? That you would work better if you had a checklist of things that you needed to do, or if there was like a story map plan forward on how to take each step to get to the destination that you want, right? The destination being like maybe a finished project or being seen by other people, whatever this like goal is for you, you need to create that plan. Not in the sense of you need to draw the entire map out now, right? You don't need to, it's going to take you forever to forge the actual path forward, right? But if you take time, baby steps, you know, you can create, for example, we go back to this picture, you can create a couple of steps here. And then once you get to that second step, it's like, oh, well, I can create another 2 steps ahead, you know, until you've created a whole path in front of you. That's kind of the vibe that we're getting at right now, you know, creating each step forward. And, you know, it might be easy that like you created these 2 steps forward, then it's like, oh, well, I know what step I can create for here. And then you create the steps to get to that part that you create. Is this making sense? I know I get a little weird with it sometimes, but like, yes, there's a sense of like creating your path forward step by step, working on the things you want to work on, advancing in the places you want to, learning things, you know, in the realm of the things that you want to advance in. And also like working with the cycles, I'm hearing. I did see 11:11 on the clock, so that might be another message here for you, but I'm seeing this like vibe of working with cycles here too. So for example, if you are a fab, working with your menstrual cycle might be a good example. You know, we have 4 phases throughout each month that we kind of go through. Or even beyond that, working with seasons cycles, for example, spring, summer, fall, winter, you know, being a little more in your energy and grinding during the summer when you have that extra energy from the sun. Or, you know, kind of taking fall as a time to reflect and let go of the things that no longer serve you to make room for new bloom in spring. Work with that and see what that makes sense to you. With here, I'm seeing a lot of you guys might want to look into lunar cycles and maybe working with lunar cycles as well. I know each phase of the moon kind of has its own personal meaning and how that might tie within your life. And I think that's also like an extra little, like if you are a little witchier, maybe that's something for you to look into and kind of tie into your practice. But overall is like find some stability here and comfort in what you're doing, you know? I think another part here is to have more times of enjoyment and comfort within your life. Like it isn't all about grinding. I think that's why both of these kind of came through here, because there's a part of you that's like, yes, take the time to learn how to grind in a way that fits to you rather than work all the time. Find a way to kind of like set out a plan in front of you so you do have an A, B, C step point to go through. Just because somebody hasn't given it to you doesn't mean that you can't create that for yourself. And it's going to take a little bit of extra work, right? Because you're foraging your own path. You know, nobody's giving you the path forward, but that's what's going to make it more worth it. And that's what's going to set you up for greater stability for more things that you want to create within your life. Because you're going to start to realize that you can create your path forward to any desired destination. You just have to take the time to create that step by step. 13:13 on the clock, so I feel like there's some sort of transformation going on here with that death process. But King of Pentacles energy comes through to remind you that life is not all about work, and no play. There's this little bit of, yes, create the stability for yourself and make sure you're stable in your finances, but also take this time to like take a load off, to really unwind. Make sure that while you're creating this plan that you do have set boundaries in the sense of like, this is my work day, and then after this certain period, I am done dealing with work. even if you enjoy it, like, for example, if this path forward is about a certain project or a career that you want to take off in, even if you enjoy it, you still need to have that balance of work-life, you still need to have that work-life balance. Like, here is when I socialize, here is when I work on the thing that I want to see progress forward. And I think there might be some sort of pet friend within your life, or some sort of animal that you're kind of like close to that might want some of your attention in some of these like chiller times where you kind of do get a sense of like taking a load off and enjoying yourself. But I think that part of with these steps forward, I think that both of these ideas of taking steps forward, but in creating these steps forward and also like having that work-life balance kind of works in tandem with this boundaries energy that we were talking about earlier, because you have to, yes, create boundaries between your work and your home life to make sure that you have a social life outside of your job, but also creating these boundaries in a sense that like, before I think it was a little more willy-nilly, where it was like you were trying to, almost like you had ideas of different steps to put forward to get to your destination, but you were kind of just throwing them around rather than setting one at a time to kind of help you progress forward. You know what I mean? Like, these weren't really stable steps forward. They were just ideas of what could propel you forward, if this is making sense. Anyway, so yeah, making sure that you create that work-life balance for yourself, making sure that you do take time to take a load off and just breathe, but also creating a game plan to get to where you want to go. Just putting in the effort to put in the effort. You know, it doesn't have to be 100% every day. Maybe today is 20%, tomorrow is 30%, the next day is 15%, but then the next 3 days you could be going 80%, 110%, you know? Working with how you feel each day, but making sure there is progression forward regardless. Whether or not you feel like it, I know you can at least put something down. And then for the last thing here we have, what is future you if you listen? And I see this energy as somebody who is just so stable and strong within their boundaries. You know, she created this fence by herself, and it's not perfect, but it's enough to stop the things that she doesn't want to come into her sphere and her energy. And look at, even though the fence isn't perfect, she herself is so strong and capable that other people are going to look at this and be like, wow, I can't believe she did that by herself. And then look at the staff that she's holding as is. There's this sense of like pride and power here that even though you yourself who created this fence might look at it and go, oh my god, that's kind of weak and lame. I can't believe I did that. Even though, I mean, it's that double-edged sword, right? Where it's like part of you is like, oh yes, I did this all by myself. But it's also like, oh my god, that's kind of lame. But I think other people are going to be looking at your energy here, and you with this like staff or whatever this is, the ability to create what you did. And yes, there might be some people that poke flaws at your fence and be like, ugh, what the hell? But I think more people are going to be looking at your energy associated with it and the fact that you actually with your own hands created this. And the fence here being in tandem with the idea of these boundaries, these steps forward, this game plan to make your dreams come true. And the bottom of the deck energy being the Knight of Wands here, I think you're going to find it fun the more that you get into it. You know, there are going to be hiccups in these times where you get annoyed with the path that you set, the schedule maybe that you've created for yourself. You know, it's not going to always be sunshine and rainbows, but I think overall you're going to find a lot more flow. Like when I think of the Knight of Wands, I think of like this dancing energy. And I feel like it's going to be a little more of like I'm hearing dancing through life vibe. The more that like you trust yourself and the more that you listen to the boundaries that you set for yourself even. Because I think that's part of what the boundaries are talking about here is boundaries for yourself. Is that not what a schedule or a set plan for us to put action into a project that we want to pursue is? Isn't that not just boundaries for ourselves? And I'm also getting this vibe of like a free spirit energy. That like even though you might have been opposed to creating a schedule or a to-do list because you thought it would be a little too restricting for your energy, you might find that this is what helps you feel more free-spirited. Like your free time feels more free because you've had this quote-unquote rigid schedule to help you progress in the things that you wanted to progress. I don't know, I just get this vibe of somebody who's like having more fun with life. Like I said, dancing through life. And I think music is really going to help you out right now too. I think with this energy, if you're feeling stagnant, stuck, or having a hard time progressing forward when it comes to these tasks that you set out for yourself, this game plan, for example, move your body a little bit. Take a break from whatever you're doing and just give yourself a minute to dance or move in whatever way works for you. Whether you go for a run or you go to the gym, or like I said, even just dancing in your room for like a 3-minute song is going to help you kind of break up that stagnant energy to be able to move forward. And also, I do think that like song messages come through for you guys. So I don't know how that works out for you, but like if there are certain songs that mean something to you, listen to them and try to find the message there, I guess is kind of what's coming through. But anyway, I think that's all I have for you guys today. I hope this message helped. If you are interested in booking a personal reading with me, please check out the link in the description below. I would love to work with you. And yeah, I hope this helped, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Love and light. Thank you for staying.